So President Ruto has fired his entire cabinet. Okay? One would have expected a significant reaction from Kenyans. And indeed, I had one of my informants bang in the middle of the CBD at River Road when this news broke. And I talked to him because I wanted to gauge the reaction of the people of Nairobi. And the least I was expecting is people gathering around and talking about it and making one or few remarks. Nothing like that happened. Kenyans were bored. Now, that is a very, very bad sign for Bwana William Samoei Ruto. And when a few of those people were pushed, at least for reaction, to say something, most of them were saying the same thing. The problem has never been the cabinet. The problem is Ruto, and Ruto must go. Now, I believe most of us remember that one of the demands of the Gen Zs on Ruto was for the cabinet to be dissolved. Well, most of these Kenyans my informant spoke to on the ground seem to have forgotten that. They just want Ruto to go. But if we were to put the emotions aside for a minute and look at this politically, actually, it is not true to say there is zero impact. It can't be true. Okay? So let's go into that. What this means is that powerful CS Interior, Kithure Kindiki, gone. Davis Chirchir, Energy CS, gone. Aden Duale, very powerful defense CS, gone. Maybe I should just stop there because I'm sure you get the idea. However, let us be honest with ourselves, okay? And let us divide these CSs who have been fired, the whole lot, into two groups. One group are those people who are close to President Ruto and who definitely will remain close to him, advising him. And then there are those people who are not close to Ruto, including people whose relationship with Ruto has been a little complicated in recent times. And at the top of that list must be CS Interior, Kithure Kindiki. If you have been following my videos on this channel, you will understand exactly why. Okay? It is over the handling of the protests. Kindiki, a former law professor, wanted the government to stick to the law and the constitution in handling those protests, while another group wanted Ruto to use the iron fist in dealing with the Gen Zs. And very interesting, this latter group felt that Kindiki wasn't tough enough for the job. And therefore, in recent times, Bwana Kindiki has been trying to prove them wrong. And this came out very clearly during his last interview on television. And those who have known Kindiki for a long time, or even observed and followed his career for a long time, will agree with me that there was something wrong. That is not the Kithure Kindiki we have known all along. So anyway, back to my point. In my opinion, there are some CSs who are actually gone for real. And I suspect the former law professor is one of them. Maybe a quicker way of making these two lists is to mention those CSs who are still very much around. Yes, they've been fired, but they are around very much so. Aden Duale, Davis Chirchir, those ones are still very much around. And surprise, surprise, I would not put Kipchumba Murkomen in this list of the CSs who are still around. I wouldn't, because there's been a lot happening. Let me just leave it at that. But even after saying all that, actually, there isn't much that has changed. For the simple reason that we all know that Ruto is a micromanager. And we have the permanent secretaries still in office. By the way, here's a quick quiz for you. The majority of PSs in government today are from which community? No, simple question. Please answer it for yourself. Something else. I have gotten information from impeccable sources that there are some individuals who are already campaigning to be included in the new Ruto cabinet. And some of these people lobbying to be in Ruto's new cabinet have got powerful godfathers who are very close to Ruto. Now, in my humble opinion, even if I was in UDA today, even if I had powerful godfathers close to the president, I would not bother to campaign for such a position. Why? Because doing so is displaying one's ignorance. This is almost like reaching the sinking Titanic by helicopter or something like that and asking for a job on the ship. Now I know this is not obvious to many people, but let us be honest with ourselves. All the moves Ruto has made since this crisis started, picturing this as a war between two sides, Gen Zs and Ruto, all the moves Ruto has made so far is retreating moves, have to do with retreating. Finance Bill 2024 shelved. That was the first demand of the Gen Zs. Cabinet dissolved. That was also a demand of the Gen Zs. Is just moving back and back, retreating all the time. Surely, whichever way you want to look at this, you cannot tell me that this is a stable presidency. Can you? And to make matters worse, as all this is happening, the government continues to do things that are not doing the presidency of Ruto any favors. Like the abduction of Kenyans. Many of them are still missing. Some have been found, some alive, and some not alive. Tell me how that helps the Ruto presidency. Bottom line, in as much as most Kenyans are bored with this major news, the truth is, it is not a small thing. Dissolving a cabinet, my friends, is not a small thing. Indeed, politically, it even weakens Ruto. Yeah, because now he does not have CSs to be spokespeople for him and his government and his presidency. Because to add weight to these utterances, you need an office, Cabinet Secretary, Interior, Cabinet Secretary, Foreign Affairs, etc., etc. And so, I don't know if you see this. This move Ruto made today, a few hours ago, actually weakens his position. But the big headline here for me is that this latest move seems to confirm some of the stories we have been hearing, some of the information we have been receiving. Like the one about a government of national unity being in the works, yeah, appointing people from the opposition. And indeed in Ruto's speech, as he dissolved this cabinet, he actually said in almost as many words that that is how the next cabinet will look like. Now, I know it is very exciting to be a member of the cabinet of the Republic of Kenya. You get security. You have a few official vehicles. Wewe ni mkubwa. I appreciate that. However, we just need to ask ourselves a very simple question. Based on where we are in Kenya right now, politically, will this government of national unity, if it ever comes into being, will it help Ruto stay in power? My straight answer to that? Nope, I don't think so. For the simple reason that the new political force in the country, the one that Ruto is even bowing to and accepting their demands, are the Gen Zs, who have now been joined by many Kenyans of all ages, of all tribes, from all kinds of social backgrounds. And one of the greatest strengths of this new political force is that they're not going to be appeased by appointments to the cabinet. They're not. You see, that is Ruto's biggest headache, because in the past he has dealt with political opposition by simply giving them something, either a seat of power, an appointment, or something. He cannot do that to the Gen Zs. And remember, the Gen Zs are partyless. They don't belong to any political party, and so it does not matter who is appointed to this brand new cabinet. It will not help Ruto's cause. Very unfortunate for him. And to make things even more difficult for Ruto, there are reports from reliable sources that Raila has decided to distance himself as far as possible from any arrangement with Ruto, including the dialogue he announced to us the other day. Gen Zs greeted him. I'm sure you know what I mean, because his telephone contacts were posted on social media, and it was so serious that Raila had to change his mobile numbers. The backlash against Raila was crazy. And so all that cannot be good news for William Samoei Ruto. But let us wait and see what unfolds in relation to this story over the next few hours and days. Now, very quickly before I go, thank you so much all those of you who have responded to this gifting season for Chris Kumekucha. Asanteni sana, and Almighty God bless you mightily. And I'm very certain many others, many of you, are still on the way. You can see details on your screens right now, repeated in the description area below this video on YouTube, and also in the comments area. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart in advance. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.